Hello, everyone. I'm Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel, and welcome back to the Portsmouth Comic Con podcast. As we head into the festive season, a time of connection, reflection, and sometimes quiet struggles, today's episode is especially important. I'm joined by Dominic White from Andy's Man Club, who will be at Portsmouth Comic Con next year. And we are talking about the club, a movement that is changing lives and reminding men everywhere that it is okay to talk. I've been really looking forward to speaking with Dom. Andy's Man Club has been present at the Comic Con for quite a few years now, and it's great to see people walking past the booth, starting conversations, and just letting people know that it is okay to talk. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 3 of the Portsmouth Comic Con podcast with Dom from Andy's Man Club. Well, I am back with another episode. Dom from Andy's Man Club. Sir, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, mate. Appreciate it.
I've seen Andy's Man Club's presence at Portsmouth Comic Con a few times now over the years. I'm seeing the banners and the logos and the posts all over social media, and it's great to be able to sit down and speak with you more today to learn more about it, to get that message out there. So if you could we let's talk about Andy's Man Club's origin story, as it were, please.
So Andy's Man Club is named after a lad called Andy Roberts, who sadly nearly 10 years ago took his life. It was no one saw it coming. Typical bloke, had a partner, had a little girl, had all this stuff, and his mum, who is very much involved in the charity to this day, just said one day she texted him and said, like, "You all right?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm 23, mum, like, leave it out, I'm all right." And the next day she texted him and never got a reply. So this was Elaine and his brother-in-law Luke's way of coping, to just sort of, we could stop another family going through the pain that they've gone through that loss. That helps. So yeah, fast forward, it was set up again back then. Stereotypes: blokes don't talk, man up, boys don't cry, all that good stuff. And they thought, well, what can we get guys talking? Just sit them in a circle, bit of tea, bit of coffee, just start the conversation. And now, fast forward 9.5 years, we're at 325 clubs, 6,500 people come through our doors on a Monday night. It's been a roller coaster.
I'm sure that one day there's going to be like a movie about Andy's Man Club for the posts that I'm seeing and the impact that it is having on not just young men's lives, but everyone that is attached to that. Yes, there's a big umbrella that covers the world of mental health now. Sometimes we hear it in meetings, and we hear it at work. How's your mental health? How are you getting on? Are you okay today? And we do sometimes brush that off. So for a club like this, that is, you've given us the numbers. They're stacking up. You're doing fantastic work. And the fact that it is simply that, it's okay to talk. So it's something that is so important, and I'm so grateful for it. Before the con starts this year, I'm going to try and get down to one of the local meetings. I've seen the caution banners up. I love that I've seen the Andy's Man Club posters everywhere. So I want to come along and experience it for myself, just to see the impact that you're all having. How did you get involved with all of this, Dom?
So everyone that is a volunteer for the charity walked through the door as a service user. Like, I'm no different. Typical bloke, was, didn't think mental health was a real thing when I was younger. Definitely didn't affect me, and until it did. You build this character in your head. Especially as someone who's heavily geeky, you idolise some of these superheroes and stuff, and you think, I want to be able to be like this person. I want to escape into that person. And then, when I told myself I was all fine and I was all okay, and then some life events happened. I lost my mum a month before I got married. Just sucked up. Thought, this is what you do as a bloke. You carry on. That's the character of myself out of my head. Got everyone sorted out, apart from me. And it was a couple of years after that I'd lost who I was, because everything that I told myself I wasn't true, and it was bloody obvious to everyone apart from me that nearly all of that was gone. And then you start thinking, what do I do now? Like, I don't know who I am anymore. And like back then, guys didn't talk about stuff. It wasn't the done thing. All the stereotypes were well and truly still in force. Luckily, I got some counselling and stuff, but it wasn't really till I walked through the door of Andy's Man Club that I was like, Christ, there are other blokes to talk about this stuff, and I'm not alone. And it is all right to, like, we get guys come through our doors with every it's not all about having a mental health issue, a diagnosed mental health condition. Sometimes you're on a shitty day and you just want to get there and have a bit of a like, this is what's going on with me. Warts and all, mask off, that mask you wear for your mates, your missus, for your friends, family, all that sort of stuff. And do you know what? Mask off, this is me. This is what's really pissing me off. And yeah, I just want to have a talk about that and not be sat there on my own at 3 o'clock in the morning with that in my head.
And I mean, that's what's, again, it's that first initial step of making the move of going to a club and not being alone, which is so important. I mean, over the years, I've had some therapy sessions, and I think the first time I did it, it was the unknown. We have this thought in our head, oh, I'm going to be sat down on a couch, they're going to tell me to talk about me mum, they're going to delve into all these things in my head that I don't want to confront. But what I've heard from Andy's Man Club, it's not that at all. As you said, it's just, we're going to have a chat, we're going to talk about what's pissing us off, what's
Totally
we need to get off our backs. And, talking like that is such an important part. It's when you open up, which is why I've always loved this element of podcasting and interviewing, is that when you talk about somebody that's got a passion for something and this light just, like a Care Bear in a way, it comes out of them. And what you're doing there with the gang and the workers and the people that decide it's their first time going to the club, it truly is inspirational. I've seen the Facebook posts. I've seen Andy's Man Club at football games and on news stories, whether that be local or national. And it's great to see it spreading across the country, and to be at a Portsmouth Comic Con as well, to have that stand. You're out there delivering to the public, which is fantastic. How does it feel for you to be a part of Andy's Man Club and making such a huge impact for the nation?
We have a saying, it's that one man, and that's what it's about. It's about the next guy coming through those doors, because you never know. You don't know people's journeys. Like it affects us all in different ways, but you never know what that next guy's going to go through. You see the guys that walk through that door in some pretty bad places, and just to see them coming back to life that little bit more, like they start coming out themselves, they start engaging more, they start having a bit more banter. That's everything. Like, just know that there's a guy, to see the transformation in some of these guys is absolutely jaw on the floor. The guys that have started to get their lives back on track, the guys that have saved the relationships, the guys that have got an all clear for some medical news they're waiting on, the guys that have just, they get a bit more hope, and that restores your hope in people as well. The world can be a pretty dark and scary place if you let it be. And we're not all that different. At AMC, I've seen every different kind of man from every walk of life, from every belief, from every origin that you could ever imagine. And no one cares a lick about any of that. They just see them as another bloke who's come through that door to sit down and have a chat about what's going on with them. Love
that. What was it like for you, Dom, to be going to your first session, as it were?
Hated it, in all honesty. I at the time I was a regional sales guy, so I was used to walking through doors. That was my living. But to walk through the door of an Andy's Man Club for the first time and have to walk into a room full of other men and say, "Right, lads, I'm Dom and I have feelings," it was not a fun thing. But once you get in there and you're in, it's just like, oh, that was easy. But that first thing, it can be scary, and it can be hard, and especially when you tell yourself you're alone and you're a burden, and that blokes don't do this sort of thing. It's not the way I was raised. You growing up when I did, you were used to seeing people on TV, cigarette in one hand, machine gun in the other. Thought you're cool. Like, these are the guys, but just problems bounced off them.
Yeah,
and to realise I wasn't that was like, oh, it's a lot. But once you're in there and you're amongst other guys, it disappears in seconds. But walking through that door can be hard. But it's the first step, and I've seen guys walk through the door, head down, about 4 foot tall. They look like a hobbit. By the time they leave, they're an orc. They're 7 foot tall, stood up, straight back, and that's it. It is, for a group of blokes with a black foam football, I've seen some magic happen in that room just by guys talking about what was going on with them. So yeah, it can be scary. I'm not going to lie to anyone, but it is worth it.
So again, so if I was say going to my first Andy's Man Club evening or day, what can I expect to see when I go through those doors? Then what sort of would make my first experience be like, Dom?
So the clubs are Monday nights, 7 till 9. Basically, you'll see a guy on the door. He'll be like, "Hello, mate. How you doing? You here for Andy's Man Club? Cool. Let's get you inside, mate. Get your tea and coffee. The only question you need to answer is, do you want tea or coffee? That's it. Get in, meet the lads if you want. Be a circle. Every group's normally, say, Caution, for example, usually 20, 25 guys. So split into two circles, 12 guys in a circle. All the groups are led by facilitators that are trained by MC, but they're also guys that have been service users. That are, these aren't magic hoodies. They don't just wash it all away. We still have life happen to all of us. We have a 5-question format. We use a black foam football, which is like a big stress toy. And if you're holding it and you want to talk, you can talk. And if you don't want to talk, you can hand it to the next guy. Like, you have got control. You take it at your pace. And we have a 5-question format, and that's questions. First 3 are always the same. And again, up and down the country runs exactly the same. And the questions are, how's your week been? Something positive from that week. And the third one is, what do you get for your chest? And that's the big one. Stuff we don't talk about is politics, religion, criminal matters, and medications, because we're not therapists. We're not there to give advice. We are just blokes that will sit there and listen to you. But everything you say stays in that room. It's confidential. Gives you the power to kind of go in there and just say, right, this is me. I know it's not leaving that room. So then we'll have a break and we go back for questions 4 and 5, and they always change. And question 4 could be like, what's your happy song? What do you do for your mental health? Favourite sport, favourite food, things like that. And then question 5 is stuff like, if you could marry a cartoon character, who would you marry? What's an acceptable date for a Cadbury's Cream to be on a store shelf? How would you eat a Kit Kat? Best biscuit for Dunkin'. All very, very divisive things. What would your superpower be? All these questions that give the guys a laugh. And again, the stereotypes about men discussing their emotions. People go, oh, it's a room full of grown men crying. It is, but 99% of those tears are laughter. Like, there is banter. Because when it's serious, it's serious. And when guys are going through it, the guys are there for you. But when you're just having a bit of a laugh and you just want to make the world a little less of a dark place, the guys will laugh with you as well. It's not all doom and gloom. Like, it's 99% positivity. And that's really important. It allows you know that you're going to go along, get that stuff off your chest, and then you're going to leave and you're going to be all right. And you can go back out into the world, and the world's kept turning while you're there. And you haven't gone to bits, and you're not, you walk out feeling lighter, not heavier.
It's fantastic. And again, to have that on a Monday, most people's least favourite day of the week, but it's starting that day the right way for me, with that positivity, that communication, that bond that you've now made with the other people in that room. It's a fantastic thing to see, and I'm looking forward to experience it. I know people that are members of Andy's Man Club. I've seen the comment sections on Facebook on some of your fantastic viral posts where you're getting some fantastic recognition for the hard work that you all do. And I'm looking forward to experiencing that. So for you, we know, yes, it is confidential. That's an important part of it. But what have been some of your favourite memories for being a part of Andy's Man Club from these sessions?
The guys, one guy, in fact, it was his 2nd anniversary yesterday. It was a guy that walked through the door having a tough time with no confidence. Then everything, the weeks went on, got a lot worse. He got hit from every which side you can imagine. And now, 2 years in, it is like I saw him in the summer, and it was like confidence had thrown up on him. He walked through the door with his navigators on, and his face was lit up like it was Christmas. And you just look at him and think, yeah.
That's it.
That's it. That's what it's about. It's the guys that don't think it's going to go their way. The guys that have got challenges and use, and when it comes right, it is like a lottery win on steroids. Wow. You've got that many guys. If you sat there with a circle of guys that have heard your story across the weeks and the months, and when you finally get that good news, you get rounds of applause, you get cheers, you get the whole the whole shebang. Like, people are there for you, and they are just rooting for you and cheering you on, and to just know you're not alone, and you've got those sort of people you can be that vulnerable with and that open about, and they're just so happy for you. Like, even if they've had the world's worst week, you get that bit of good news, and it all goes out the window for them. They are there for you 1,000,000%.
And that's sort of it's something that I've always tried to do is the little wins, not just those massive successes and victories that we all are working behind doors we're not really talking about. It's those little wins, just getting through the day, getting through the week, working for the weekend, as it were. But to be able to sit down and talk about the wins, no matter how big or small they are, in a safe place, and talking about the other things that are bothering us. Sharing a problem really does halve it, and you're doing that great work there, and just being a shoulder or an ear or a friend to talk to. That's what heroes are. Heroes they can be something so different to so many people, but what you're doing is heroic. And you can see that in the feedback that you are getting, but also seeing from those ones with the members that are coming back time and time again. It is inspiring to see, and you've been going for a while now. Where do you hope to see Andy's Man Club in, say, 10 years' time, Dom?
I think the goal of the charity is now twofold. It's to either have one within 30 minutes of every bloke, so we're everywhere where people need us. But ultimately, you want to be at a place where you don't need it, where people are, the conversations are just normal, where people will just talk about what's going on with them, and men, women, everyone, life gets a little less pressurised, and life gets things will change. There will always be times that people need to services like AMC to go and talk, but just to see that drop in the numbers, so that way everyone's just having conversations normally.
But seeing it out there is what is good, because people are going to be asking questions like, when they come by your booth at Portsmouth Comic Con, they'll say, what's this? Tell me about it. And the interactions that I've seen with previous years, it's so welcoming, so positive. So, like, come over and have a chat. We'll tell you all about it. And that element, again, of asking a bit more of a zany, off-the-wall question at the end, it makes it an easy way to end a podcast or a conversation. So let's dig a bit more into that. What have been some of your favourite final questions from over the years at Andy's Man Club, Dom?
If you could bring back a fashion from your childhood, what would it be?
I was a fan of the shell suit, Dom. I'm gonna. It was convenient. It wasn't very fashionable, but it was convenient.
It wasn't. Ironically, for me, it'd be curtains.
Kickers. White
No,
501s and the kickers coming back.
I had the kickers, but the curtains, when my hair was down here, perfectly straight, it was great to have hair. But sadly that died. What other ones? Best biscuit for Dunkin'?
See, I'm a fan of just a classic custard cream, but a choc chip hobnob, you can get a couple of good dunks out of that.
Yeah, so I'm a bourbon man.
Okay. Refined taste. Classic. Job. I like it.
What else do we have for you? What would your superpower be?
See, for me, that's an answer that often changes. Flight is always there, because it's just, again, for me, that's always been a huge part of why I love Superman's mythos. It's that escapism. If you want to get out of a situation quickly, you can just fly off. But again, that's something that we can't always do. I would like the ability to heal people, because that's always been a fun one that's been used in comics, but there's been so many out there. What about you, John, when it comes to superpowers? What would you like to have?
I'd shapeshifter. That'd be awesome. Just to be able to be different people, and that'd be pretty interesting. Either that or telepathy. Professor X or Mystique.
Nice.
But here's one we haven't had, but you'll probably appreciate. Favourite toy line as a kid?
For me, I had a lot of Lego growing up, and I haven't got many of my original sets left, which really grates me, because I know they'd be worth some money now. I was a fan of Boglins when I was a kid. Really, those just ugly little hand puppets. I can remember having a few of those in my collection and going to Blackpool for a family holiday. and there was a sort of a boglin constantly on TV. There was somebody there controlling it, but they could see people out on the street, and they were interacting with them, and they were talking to me, and I was like, "This is the best day ever! I'm having a conversation with a boglin. This is top notch." And what about your toy, John? What was your favourite toy line back in the day?
Mine would be a toss-up between Star Wars or Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
But yeah, good times.
And that's that's another big element of Portsmouth Comic Con that I like, is the nostalgia. A lot of people didn't know what a Comic Con was until Portsmouth Comic Con opened up their doors back in 2018, and now they've got a rough idea. They're bringing their friends and their kids are there to see something particular. But the mums and dads would be like, "Oh, I used to have that turtle figurine. I used to have that wrestling figurine. It's only £1. I can't not buy it now. That's coming home with me." Nostalgia is a great way to break the ice. So I'm sure that gets used quite a lot at Andy's Man Club sessions. It's a fantastic. What was your favourite TV show growing up? What two TV series that never combined would you like to see have a crossover? It's finding that common ground, which is what you all do at the club, which is a fantastic way to get people just to open up and start talking about something, and then talk about something else. So it's a good way to get a good judge of someone as well, I feel.
Yeah, you've got to be careful. Sometimes people say, like, "I don't like so-and-so." Like, really? Like, you might not be my kind of person. I'm sure you're a great person, but sometimes get people like, I hate Star Trek, I hate Star Wars, I hate anything sci-fi, but I really like football. You're like, yeah, like, I'm not against football, like that passionate. Really? I can't. Yeah, it's not.
It's not a red flag, but it's a little bit. It's just it's bordering.
It's alarming enough. It's like when someone makes you a cup of tea and puts the milk in first and then the tea bag, and you're like, "Ooh, you're one of those people, are you?" Bit different. Okay, but
I'll give it a go once. I'll always try it once, but if it's vile, I'm not doing that again. But again, we've talked about how opening up and talking can get the conversation going into something else, and that's when we see these heroes. As we said, when we were growing up, it's these big macho men that certainly don't talk about their feelings. They don't talk about their day, and then you've got films like Falling Down, where you just get that moment where it all just snaps, and is literally that guy had the worst day imaginable and he snapped. And I think breaking that down with a conversation, just to sort of take that weight off your shoulders and talk about that at a club, it helps when we know that somebody else is going through something else, not necessarily worse, but we're all facing our own battles, no matter how big or small they can be. So to be able to be in a room like that where it happens must be powerful, to say the least. As we mentioned, Andy's Man Club has had quite a bit of fantastic press over the years. What's been one of the most exciting things that you've seen happen for Andy's Man Club?
It's just been the rise in the numbers. We had some really great bits, like we had an episode of Emmerdale that was done specifically about Andy's Man Club. And that was off the back of someone getting a wristband at a festival, which was awesome. Like, that's really, really huge awareness. We've had buses wrapped with our stuff, trucks. But for me, it's the guys, like when you just having a conversation with someone. Like one of my colleagues did a talk 2 years ago in Bury St Edmunds, and a guy there after the talk said to him, like, "Look, I was in a really, really bad place, but thank you so much." And he gave him a wristband, and the guy was attending online for 2 years, and we just opened up our Bury St Edmunds club, and that guy was there. Wow. And just stuff like that that's pretty magic. Like, it's the small stuff that I really love. The big things are great because this is all about the awareness, and sometimes you need to kind of keep hearing it before you, maybe I will give it a go. But you never know when someone needs to hear the message, or someone's going to, as a friend, do they think, actually, I'm fine, but so-and-so could do with a chat. Let's take them. It's just getting out there.
That's it. And I'm going back to the wristbands. I've seen the merchandise out there in the wild, as it were. and that's just like a great thing to see. So the fact that more and more are opening up and down the country, say if you were going up north for a holiday or somebody was coming down south and you see somebody else with a hoodie on or a wristband or a lanyard, it's that sort of little wink or a nod, like yes, we're all part of the club, which is fantastic. It's a very nice thing to see, this community that you've built for yourself and everybody that is a member of the club. So when you or some of the gang are going to be at Portsmouth Comic Con next year, what can we expect to see from Andy's Man Club next year, Dom?
Group of blokes wearing black hoodies, handing out wristbands. We'll just be there to have a chat to you. A lot of the fine gentlemen that will be attending are connoisseurs of all things geeky. Just come along, talk to us. Like, even if it's not about mental health, just come and have a chat about comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, anything. Just come along and talk and be like, hey, how you doing? And that's what it's about. It's just stop by, say hi. If you're in cosplay, especially if you're something that's kind of like modern cosplay, that some of our guys probably like, who is that? Like, if you're Batman and stuff, well, no. But if you're a K-pop demon hunter, that might blow a few people's minds.
And that's the thing. I love that element of Comic Cons, and I've been there with friends and my nieces before. So again, fans of different ages, of different genres, and I have to sort of ask, what's this character? What's that from? Normally, when it's the cosplay parade, which was a fantastic thing to see. And my niece, she went to the anime Comic Con here one year down at Port Solent, and I had no idea what any of these characters were. It wasn't my field of expertise, but she went dressed up as a character that looked really cool. I was like, oh, this is fun. But this is at a stage in her life when she was quite shy and retiring, and it took a lot of her to put cosplay on and step out of some comfort zones. And she walked around this event where she knew nobody, but she was being stopped for photographs because of her cosplay. And I was like, this is what a community can be like, whether it be comics or Andy's Man Club, or when you welcome people in and you get that inclusivity, it's a beautiful thing to witness. And that's something that I've seen grow and grow over the years, especially with Portsmouth Comic Con. It is such a safe place, which is why it's a perfect place for Andy's Man Club to come along to. I'm sure you're going to have some moments at Speaker's Corner next year where you can get over there and you can talk with Express FM and with people that are attending Comic Con, because it's going to be a great thing to have there. Yes, there's going to be comics and toys and cosplay and everything else that you would see at a Comic Con, but it's organisations like Andy's Man Club that need to have as much representation as possible, which is what you're doing, and it's great to see. So I'm looking forward to coming over to that booth, seeing that football, because I know it was there last year. It's going to be a good thing to see. Now, going back to fandoms and geeking out, as we love to do in life and on this podcast, Tom, what is it for you? What is one of your big passions when it comes to the things that you adore?
My biggest passion is 80s toys. Always has been. One of the best people in the world that I know lives in Pittsburgh, so I go over there once a year and we go toy hunting.
Wow.
But I know far too much to an almost Rain Man level about 80s toys.
Really?
Yeah, it's concerning in places, but like 80s toys, Star Trek, Star Wars, comic books, it's escapism. You know, sometimes, again, with mental health, if you want to go back to a time when you were innocent, like being a kid, or you want to escape into a different world, you know, sometimes you could just sit there and whack on some DS9 or Babylon 5 and just not be, you know, you're sat on a sofa for a bit, but you're not, if that makes any sense. You are
Completely
elsewhere. And that for me is, you know, all pop culture as it's now known. You know, sci-fi fantasy when I was growing up, it's amazing. Like, it just, you can be free for a bit, and that's
it's a perfect way of putting it, being free. A few weeks back, I went to my local comic shop, and just stepping into the doors of that is like, I hadn't been there for a few years, and it's changed hands now. So I was like, I want to go down there, check it out, support my local comic shop. And I went in, had a little browse, and a courier came in and needed to step out of the shop with the owner for a little bit. And the owner was like, do you mind just looking after the shop while I'll nip out? And I was like, well, it's a lot of trust you're giving me, but I will gladly do that, because for a few moments I was the owner of my own comic shop in a way. And I was like, that for me is one of the big goals. But as you said, everyone's got that escapism, that nostalgia for something special, which is a great way to get people talking, like what you do with the club. There is always, as you said, there's going to be controversy, whether it be Marvel or DC. We had that conversation when we were planning this chat. There's something out there that would get a healthy debate going, whether it be that or the dunkability of a biscuit. It's something special that you are doing with the gang there at Andy's Man Club. For you, if you could have one possession in your collection that you've either had over the years or have let go, what item from the geek universe would you love to have in your collection, Dom? It's a good question for next Andy's Man Club. There you go.
It would have to be my original Soundwave from Transformers G1 that I got from a car boot sale, and I've still got the letter that I wrote to Hasbro in I didn't write, my mum wrote it for me, but in 1985 saying I really wanted Soundwave, but by the time it came out over here, I was when I got into Transformers, it wasn't on the shelves anymore.
Yeah.
But I've still got a Soundwave that I bought, nearly 40 years ago now, that is still absolutely beautiful. It's still got all his cassettes.
Wow.
There's a few bits like that. I've got my original Mask Condor, the little bike that was my one. And those are the ones I've got some really nice high-end stuff. But if the place is on fire, they're the bits that I'm grabbing. Like the expensive.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think we've all got sort of a list of comics or toys that if there is a fire, let's get the family out first and then go back and get all the really important stuff.
Yeah, this is the stuff that's like, if it happens, like these are coming with me. They're the bits that I literally can look at now and just thinking about them. Yeah, there's a lot of good memories wrapped up in those.
And that's the thing, you can see an item like that in your collection or in a comic shop or at a Comic Con and think, that takes me back instantly. There's a guy at the Comic Con normally has these massive tables filled with bags of toys ranging from like £1 to £15. And you just see some really unique things there that I just completely forgot about. Lots of Burger King toys from the 90s that I had like a whole collection of, or like the old Kinder Egg collections of turtles and terrapins. I had all these little weird things as a kid, and I think, right, now this is dangerous because I've got what's classed like as grown-up money now. I could go and get as much as I like. Yeah. But I mean, if it triggers something inside you that, gives you that little warm feeling of nostalgia, that's the things that we live for me when it comes to being a geek, is those little moments of joy that come out of nowhere sometimes. So, and for me, I'm sure that is what it's like when somebody comes along to an Andy's Man Club for the first time and they leave that night knowing that, one, they're not alone, two, that they've got this safe place where they can talk about their feelings and what they're going through. Yeah. So I'm so proud to not only be able to talk to you today about that, but to have your presence at Portsmouth Comic Con, a place that for me is a safe place, such a wonderful weekend of creativity and that special word inclusivity. It really means the world that Nick and Kurt and everyone behind the scenes at Portsmouth Comic Con, they know that this interacting with the public is important. So you're doing fantastic work. But in the meantime, Dom, for those that can't come along to Portsmouth Comic Con, where can they find out about all the great work that you are doing?
If you go onto andysmanclub.co.uk, there's a club finder on there. Put in your postcode, tell you where the nearest clubs are. We're on all the socials. But yeah, just reach out to us. Anything we can do. If you've got a local business or a local anything, like if you've got like a D&D group and you want someone to come along and have a chat, we'll do that. And yeah, if it's not Andy's Man Club, if you've got a person in your life or a place you can go where you can just be that vulnerable when you need it, change your life.
Superb. Dom, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for agreeing to this. I've been looking forward to this conversation. I'm going to be checking out one of my local Andy's Man Club events soon. I want to get down there and see what it's like. I want to know what it's like before I come down and say hello to the heroes at Portsmouth Comic Con next year. But thank you for your time today, everything that you do, and I can't wait to see what you get up to in the future with Andy's Man Club, Dom.
Thanks for having me, mate. It's, really enjoyed it. Thank you.
And that was episode 3. Dom, thank you so much for your time for this conversation and for all the hard work that you do and everybody at Andy's Man Club. It is such a wonderful thing to see when people get together and talk and find a way to talk about the things that are affecting them, talking about life. It's why I love podcasting, when I get to listen to people talk about something that matters to them. And to be able to sit down with Dom and learn more about Andy's Man Club was an absolute privilege. And yes, as I said, I can't wait to see them interact with the crowds at Portsmouth Comic Con 2026. You can get your tickets for Portsmouth Comic Con at portsmouthcomiccon.com, and there will be a link in this podcast info about how you can find out more about the great work that Andy's Man Club is doing. I've been your host, Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel, and I'll be back very soon with a brand new episode of the Portsmouth Comic Con podcast.